Waiting. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Kim and the Crease podcast number 113. I am Kim, also known as Isles Girl 3. And if you can see right next to me over here, we have the legend, Twisted Wrister Hockey, also Nick with his dog Cortana. She's there. I can promise you she's there. But
Yeah,
he's such a good friend of mine. He's awesome. Thank you for doing this. I'm so excited to talk to you tonight and just talk with everybody. And because I was sitting there, I was looking at the scores and another shutout / 10-goal game against the Sharks. You're one of the best Sharks fans that I know. And so we're going to get into Sharks, Islanders, and just general NHL, how we're feeling about the season. So let's get into it. So, Nick, you said you had something to talk about with Sharks here. So let's hear it.
Oh, geez. Yeah. I mean, I wish that it was something, promising that I could share. But even though our expectations were very, very low, wow. Just wow. This is not even historically bad. This is historically bad on maybe an NHL level. And by the way, I know that we mentioned Cortana, my dog. So I'll just show her right now. We can always.
Yeah. Yes, Cortana Cam. Yeah.
Yeah, but Cortana does like the Islanders. That's kind of a.
I know. I saw it when I watched your game streams. By the way, his game streams are great. And every time a team scores, she gets a treat.
Yeah. And because she always picks the Islanders when I do certain predictions. So there you have it.
I feel bad for her as of late, but we'll get into that. Oh, I got a rant with my team too, so we're both going to be ranting this week.
Well, at least even if you blew a lead, it came against a team that, has sputtered a little bit this season, but they are the favorite to, in terms of like sports betting.
I mean, you went against a behemoth too. You went against a behemoth team too, so it's not, can't look at it that badly, right?
We got off the wall hockey hopping in here too. What's going on?
Oh my God, John,
here, man.
boy. Yo, more legends in the chat. How about that? That is awesome. With off the wall hockey saying, woo, not one but two legends. Please, now we got three.
Now we got three, yeah.
We got three with you in here, man. Love you, John. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. Oh man, but yeah, so it's just tell us about this week with the Sharks, the games.
Oh, yeah.
What were you expecting? What was your reactions?
Yeah, I mean, well, the two big ones, of course, came on Thursday and last night. So the Sharks are now the first NHL team to concede at least 10 goals in consecutive games since the 1965-66 Bruins. That team was so damn bad, the Bruins were. That was a time when, the Red Wings had been dominating and the Blackhawks earlier in the decade, and then it was all Leafs and Canadiens for the most part. The Bruins were nowhere to be seen. Ultimately, they ended up with some guy named Bobby Orr. So I'm hoping that this gives us our Bobby Orr. But
yeah,
it happened. I mean, our schedule, first of all, this season, we started with all 4 division winners. It was Golden Knights, Avalanche, Hurricanes, and then Bruins. And, I was like, okay, if we're going to lose all 4 games, hey, we got a point in one of them. Okay, I could think of worse ways to begin this year, and then it's Vancouver putting up 10 against us. I'm catching up with my friend who was passing through town and stayed over with me. We used to watch the Sharks together in high school, and we're just like laughing, and thankfully there were beers, so we could just, kind of shrug that off. It was like, wow, good thing we didn't have to see that when we were investing more as fans. And then, oh boy, then last night I did a live stream. This is Erik Karlsson's return to San Jose. He spent 5 years there. And I thought, the Penguins have been slumping. Maybe the Sharks actually find a way. Maybe they're so pissed off after that embarrassment the previous game, 10-1. And then as this game's going along, we're like, okay, so the Sharks are only on pace to concede 7 goals. Okay, well, that's a bit of an improvement. Maybe they'll get a couple, and they do. But sure enough, it's the first minute of every period or the first 5 minutes, there are multiple goals. And before you know it, there are 7 minutes left in this game, and it's 10-2. How could it be this I can't is there a word to describe
Like
it?
garbage. Like, it's just like, how could there be this much, like, dysfunction on the team, like, all over?
Yeah, it
Offense,
is all
defense,
over.
goaltending, coaching, all of it is not cohesive.
Not whatsoever, not when you don't have anybody waiting in the wings that you've been developing for the past couple of years, that talent just hasn't, surfaced just yet.
No.
Yeah.
It's been a rough, bumpy start for the Sharks, that's for damn sure, but honestly, if I was like I feel like at this point, if I was a Sharks fan, I'd be like, "Tank, tank, tank. Just get the first round, just get the first pick.
I
Just
mean,
get
that's
that
what
first pick."
we were hoping for that last year. We were the worst team in the
Don't even get me
NHL in
started
second
about last year and first picks and bullshit and I still hate that the Blackhawks organization that's a whole 'nother topic, but especially with what came out today, again,
Yeah.
about the Blackhawks organization.
I mean, what do you do for something that happened 13 years ago when nobody was even working for them, like,
Well, you
right?
don't give them a fucking first round draft pick. That's what you don't freaking do. Oh,
I
they got it? That's bullshit.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean, just
sorry.
like a petty fine, essentially, that's
That's
right.
disgusting.
Yeah,
And meanwhile, you look at what's happening with the Senators, which they got like slap, slap, slap because of a trade. And they got this penalized, that like this back and forth. Even the Shane Pinto thing with
yeah.
the gambling, and then with the Blackhawks organization, what do they get? A slap on the wrist. But here's Connor Bedard. Like, I don't know.
Well,
That's
the league
yeah.
needs to market itself, right? And it can't just rely on marketing the Canadian stars, right? Or the stars in the Canadian teams.
Shouldn't have gone to them. Just I don't care. But yeah, that's something else. Back to Sharks. Um, what did you feel about the little boy holding "It's my first Sharks game"?
Oh, yeah,
I'm
that oh, poor kid. Kinda reminds me of myself, actually, because I used to go to, like, a game a year. I didn't really care about the on-ice product, but the Sharks would get just absolutely bum rushed, like 5-1 in these games. This is back when the Sharks were bad in the 1990s.
Yeah,
I'm wearing the original teal jersey here. Like,
I could see that. Yeah, no,
that
like
was
the good. Those were nice.
yeah, it's a real treat still, but, yeah, it was an ugly time back then. Yet the team was a real expansion team. That's just what happened. The Islanders, they played in a time, or they started in a time when the NHL had expanded, but even so, there were opportunities for teams to actually do some damage after a couple of seasons.
Oh, but we started out. We got our asses whooped. I mean, it wasn't a nice entry for us either.
I just think like automatically like Brian Trottier and just taking
We
everybody on his
just
back and
it's just
yeah.
like we were just lucky the pieces fell where they did, that we had a GM like, Torrey, we had, the coach like Arbor, everything just fell into place, it was like Trache, Bossy, and then, Goalies, all these freaking players coming in cohesively, and then Torrey doing the great trade for Goring and setting us off in the cup runs. So it's just everything just fell into freaking place. And
Oh,
God, I wish we had a GM who could do that.
well, yeah, I mean, you're also, even today, even though I think last year was an exception for various reasons, but like you look at what the Avalanche did going from being such an abysmal team back in 2016-17, the first year of Jared Bednar as head coach. And then what happens, right? McKinnon gets surrounded by some talent that they draft by themselves, some smart trades too, but like Landeskog, he's got some guys to flourish with. Rantanen comes in. They get Makar, like homegrown talent, and then a couple savvy trades. One
Don't
of which,
don't even
right?
don't even
But
get me
but those
started.
guys are the ones who lead the team on that cup run. The Lightning teams that went back to back, savvy trades, sure, but like cornerstones that go back now way over a decade ago. Stamkos, Hedman, Kucherov, Braden Point was this diamond in the rough. Andre Palat was a seventh rounder. Vasilevsky, right? It's just that is something that I hope the Sharks understand. In the salary cap is going up, but even so, you're not going to attract free agents to your team if you want to get good fast. You actually have to grow this stuff from your own system. And so that's
Yeah.
what kind of terrifies me because I haven't seen any of that really in a long time. We're talking like a decade ago.
Yeah, no, the Islanders are having an issue with that too. Farm, like building since like one of the only ones that has like thrived with us has been like Devon Taves was like from our farm system. Um, and I don't want to talk about it. And, uh, Simon Holstrom goes up and down with me. I feel like it's a big confidence issue with him, and there are some like kids that I'm like kind of excited about coming up in our system or in the AHL right now, but it's with the Sharks. I don't know particularly any names from the
I,
Sharks system,
yeah. I mean,
and that's a
first
problem.
our games start at 10:30 your time, so that doesn't make things any easier, but you're
Yeah,
exactly right.
that's the biggest problem, and then just watching some goals cohesively on the ice. It feels like nothing's working. Now you put like I can't even blame the coach, I feel like, because it's like he's trying his best to put something together and it's just not clicking.
This team last year obviously was 4th worst in the NHL, but the thing was is that there was competition among those players. Like Eric Carlson certainly drove a lot of it. And say what you will about his defense, but he was easily a big net positive for that team last year. And Timo Meyer before he was traded over to the Devils. And this year there's no fulcrum. There's no anchor in the lineup. Like I'm not talking about contract anchor. I'm talking about somebody who can catalyze things offensively. Hurdle, he's trying his best, but he's just not quite that guy. He's not, like the Islanders, you always hear it, it's like they don't have that just game breaker of a forward
Yeah.
like Jack Hughes, or I'm just trying to think in the division, like I don't know. You could say Zibanejad or Panarin even. But Cortana, honey, I know we'll get back to you soon. Um, yeah, it's just so infuriating but people need to understand that this is the product of the previous regime. So our general manager Mike Greer, this is only his 2nd year, and when he got there, Brent Burns was still under contract. Eric Carlson, Tomas Hurdle had signed an 8-year extension, so they were just getting increasingly buried in bad contracts given the state of the franchise. So he has to rip this band-aid off, and he's done that. He got some
Yeah.
in return for Carlson. Thankfully, Meyer, he got something in return. So it's like, okay, I'll give him the time that he needs. But man, oh god,
It's
that's
just
the
rough
worst job.
watching it, waiting
Yeah.
for it, knowing that you're gonna be ass and then watching it happen. It's a rough bruise. It's like I feel you with the 2000s Islanders. It's a tough band-aid, especially 2008. 2008 is a notorious year for Islanders in pain.
Plus, you're still waiting to actually go to your first final in our lifetime. They haven't been since
Yeah,
I've been born. Yeah,
we
the
were
Islanders.
this fucking close too. This fucking close. I hate the Lightning with all my heart. I hate one shorthanded goal, and like in that,
Yeah,
and from there, like we've been yelling. One goal, that one shorthanded goal shouldn't have made a series. It shouldn't have.
that's what makes the playoffs magic.
And the fact that we couldn't get one goal, one deciding player, one player that should just make the magic happen. And we traded for Horvat, but it's just been I don't know if it's it. And then we've been having a problem with Lane. I feel coaching has been the biggest issue for the New York Islanders at the beginning of this season. Coaching is our number one issue. And I'll be honest, I wanted Lane gone in the offseason and I wanted a new coach. But Lou likes his people. And I said, you know what? I'll give Lane another shot. How many games are we into the season? Like 10, 11, something like that. I want him gone. I want him gone, gone, gone. He is the reason we lose games. His coaching, biggest problem with the Islanders. Why did teams come back? We had a 3-1 lead over the Carolina Hurricanes. They ended up tying it. Go to OT, 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 and we can't do 3-on-3. We don't have the speed. We don't have, and even there is coaching. What does he start? Like Cizikas, Pajot, and Nelson. Why aren't you starting the stars first? Because they are.
You'd put Dobson out there. Usually
Yeah,
that's
like,
what you'd see. Yeah.
they're starting their stars, why aren't we? We start out why isn't Matt Barzal, Bo Horvat, and, yeah, maybe like a Dobson, it's kinda hard because he's not that great defensively,
Hmm.
but, I don't know, put, Ryan Pulock, he's got a wind-up shot, but he's smart defensively. I feel like that would be like, why aren't we starting our stars first? Huge, because I feel, oh, we gotta surprise them. No, you stupid. You're putting a third line against there first in OT with the first goal. That's all that matters. I
That's
don't
because he's
under
not playing to win. He's playing not to lose.
exactly, exactly. That is the Lane Lambert effect. We go up, we have leads, and then he goes, guys, we're gonna sit back and play defensive. Just keep it. We're good. We're good. We're good. No, we're not fucking good. No. No, we're not. And that's a huge Lane Lambert problem right now. He in that
Yeah.
third period against Carolina, it was like in the third period, he said, "Oh, just sit back and relax. We're good. Just try to get it out. Get it out." All they did, dump, 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 dump. And that's not how you win games. You keep the offensive. You keep getting goals. Just like, sorry, with the Sharks,
Yeah.
you just keep scoring. You just keep scoring. Because there is no secure lead. I say that all the time. There is no secure lead. And Lane Lambert, for some reason, does not know this at all. And another thing he likes to do is when we have leads, he likes to change all the freaking lines
During leads.
during leads. So we were up, I think it was the Ottawa Senators this past week. We were up in like 2-0 against the Ottawa Senators, I believe. No, Washington Capitals. My bad. Oh my god. I'm trying to know. Washington Capitals, we fucking won. I can't keep my games together right now. This is so
Alright.
bad. This is so bad. Yeah, it was Ottawa. It was Ottawa. We were up. And then he goes, I think we had like a 2-0 lead. We got a shorthanded goal that game too. And we were feeling good. And then in the third, he's like, you know what? I'm gonna put Barzell on like the third line. I'm gonna put Barzell on the third line. I'm gonna put Bo Horvat here. I'm gonna put Andersley here. I'm gonna switch up this pair. I'm like, we were like, what the fuck are you doing? Because then players had no chemistry. They were passing to nobody. They were passing right to the other team because they didn't know where each other was, and that just led to us getting hemmed in our zone. And we ended up losing in OT again. And same thing with OT, the problem. Like, it's just these constant mistakes from that he does. And I feel bad because the players are answering for it. But Barzell was like, they were like, I think he was asked about Lane, and he's like, oh, Lane's coach. Yeah, he didn't like say anything good about Lane. I think the players are getting pissed. I think he's lost the room too.
Well, I was also curious to get your thoughts on the power play. Is that something that because statistically it's not like it's making much of a step forward versus where it was even last year, but
Yeah.
have they been generating good chances off of that?
Sometimes it's very like a coin flip. Sometimes we have a power play where I'm like, wow, okay, we're generating some chances. And then there's some power plays where I don't know if you know, I have the Pretty Passes song. And it's pass, 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 lose the puck all the way down the ice, or just pass, lose down. And it's like, yep, this is an Islanders power play. I'm going to go take a nap. Like, it's just very 50-50, but I feel like it's more leaning towards them with the passing. It's like rarely, honestly, if we get a power play goal, it's right off the top dot. Like if someone, win face off, like it's usually Pajot, win face up, shot, boom, in. Like, and it's usually from a defenseman, blue line, Dobson or Pulock or something like that. Or just weird angle, sometimes Horvat. And sometimes it comes through. But most of the time our power play is not stable, but I would say it is a little bit better, but not to the point where I'm super happy about it.
That's one thing that, like, as we saw in the playoffs, a power play alone can't. actually, maybe some people would disagree with me, but, like, I don't think a power play alone can really be necessarily your best asset.
Mm,
Because I was just watching the Oilers game, yesterday, they get a couple power play
oof.
goals to stay, even keel with the Preds, and then they just have nothing. They have nothing at 5 on 5. And then but when you get to the playoffs, it's one of those things where if you don't actually just, like, cash in on the man advantage every now and then, the
Exactly.
other team actually gets momentum based off of your failure to do so.
It's 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 like you get that power play, you have to capitalize on it. You have to capitalize on those chances, and teams that had great power plays went forward in the playoffs. That's just the basis of the fact. I mean, when we lost against New Jersey, the reason we lost, every single goal was a power play goal for them. Every single one. Because every time we went in the box, they cashed. They cashed. They cashed. And no matter how many times we came back and to play 5 on 5 and how we were playing, every time we uh gave them a man advantage, they were able to cash in. And you look at a team like New Jersey who was able to get to a second round spot last year. But that's like I would say New Jersey is the power play I want. But it's I don't know. We kept the same coaches. I just say this all the time is that Einstein quote, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing, over and over again and expecting a different result. That's the New York Islanders because Lane is just like, yeah, let's keep everything the same. I'm sure everything will work out.
Yeah, I that reminds me of the "everything's fine" or "this is fine" gif.
Yep.
Yeah, it's funny because I used that, like, 6 times texting people today, but anyway.
It's like I just don't understand and then I also look at it too as if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And
Like,
I say that
the
about
line
Lane
changes
Lambert.
when you have a lead. Yeah, the line
I
changes
say
when
that
you have a
about
lead.
Lane Lambert because
Yeah.
we're doing fine. We're winning the game. Let's keep doing what we're doing. And Lane's like, nah, we gotta change it up. I'm like, what is wrong with you? But that's Islanders' frustration. Coach changes it too much, and Lou changes nothing.
Sounds about right, especially on the latter. I mean, how can you even, you know, if you're Lou, you're just like, "Hey, guys, like, get used to each other. You're still all together for, 3 or 4 more years," or most of you are.
Yeah. But that's why, like, something like our fourth line has always, like, stuck together is because they have that chemistry from being together for so many years. I said a big reason Pajot hasn't, like, flourished is because last season, how many times he had different line mates? And he's doing it again with Pajot. How many times he's had different line mates, like, game after game after game.
Mhm.
We wanna keep Horvat with Barzal just because, like, they had something there, so let's keep them together, let's let them grow, let them, understand each other so that they can work with each other, and if you know what, Anders Lee, I don't really mind it, he's played with Barzal before, so you already have that chemistry there, it seemed to have been working out. It's just and then you go and break that up, I just don't I don't know.
Yeah, I guess a similar kind of parallel is when you're a manager in baseball and you just change your lineup card every day, right? It's
Yeah.
kinda like, "No, I don't feel confident that you can knock in that runner if I move you up to the 4 spot, so now you're batting 8th today." So, it's like, yeah, you have to trust that the players are going to work it out with just a little bit of time, you know? When
Yeah,
this is a team that needs to
exactly.
get it done by committee, right? It's not like again, they're not gonna rely on one Brock Nelson's gonna score his goals, but, like, they're that's still alone not going to vault this team into a top 3 spot in the division, so you
No.
do need those contributors on a fairly consistent basis.
I will say though, I do like the acquisitions of Horvat and Engvall. I think Engvall's been done very well. I think, Horvat's been doing well. I feel like maybe expect a little bit more, but I'm not pissed off at Horvat at all.
For
I'm
those
not. I'm
wondering,
not.
he's got 4 goals and 5 assists in 10 games. That's getting it
It's
done.
not bad.
2
It is.
2 power play goals. Alright.
Yeah. And then I saw Beauvillier got the 2 goals in the 10 goal game. So he
Oh,
got a little.
I would comment on that, but I no. Was it last night? I think it was last night where every Penguins player on the roster, and I think that probably includes Jari, got a point.
Yeah, I know. I had Sidney Crosby on fantasy. I was like 10 goals and he didn't get 1. I was like, "Wow." But I think he got an assist.
Yeah. Yeah, by the way, Sid playing, his 1,200th game last night.
Oh my god.
He's like the 129th player or something to do that, but of course, he's got, like, over 1,500 points,
Yeah, Crosby did get an assist.
yeah, I'm looking at Pittsburgh, and let's see here. Actually, yeah, Lars Eller okay, a few players didn't have points last night for Pittsburgh,
Okay.
that's weird. I must have
Yeah, I'm shocked. It seemed like there was
gotten that
plenty
mixed
to
up.
go around.
And their highest plus minus was only a +5, so, I mean, some of them were just slacking there
The
as far
Ducks
as the
just
game.
went ahead of the Golden Knights.
Oh, I said the Ducks were gonna win this game.
The Ducks just went ahead of the Golden Knights.
I mean, the Knights have, 2 minutes left, wow.
McTavish
McTavish?
3-2 Ducks with 2 minutes left to go in the 3rd.
It's funny, you're saying like, "Oh, maybe we'll discuss some of the surprises in this season." I think the Ducks should definitely be one of those teams regardless of tonight's results. Like, at
Hmm,
the top of my list for what's the biggest surprise in the NHL, besides for good things, good surprises,
yes.
it's that Frank Vatrano has 9 goals.
Yeah. That's freaking insane to think about.
Yeah,
This
McTavish,
this
though.
Duck squad has been surprising.
Well,
Absolutely.
I like to joke that, they colluded with the NHL last year to finish with the worst overall record because they intentionally didn't win any games after St. Patrick's Day. Just a little suspicious, but they did not get that number 1 pick. I would have
No.
been mad. I would see, you talk about Chicago. I was gonna be fuming if the Ducks got that first overall pick. But yeah, it's good to see them finally turn around,
Yeah.
it's they need to,
I
of
think
course,
Trevor Zegras would have, like, thrown himself off a cliff if they didn't.
empty net. Yeah, really. I mean, it took them a long time to get his deal done, and, I think Drysdale was the other guy, but,
But this would be Vegas's first regulation loss of the season if this happens.
watch. They
Oh
won't
my
let
god,
it.
watch me, like, eat my wo
Yeah, empty net. Yeah, the Ducks, they're doing this now, of course, with, Greg Cronin as their head coach. I don't know really much about him. I think he coached for the San Diego Gulls, I wanna say,
It's
and,
nice to see, like, new kinda names and faces in the NHL rather than refurbished names, like, if we were talking about, like, what's happening with the Ottawa Senators right now. Chiarelli's name is being circulated again.
oh, good lord.
I
God.
mean, I wouldn't mind. That's what I heard is that it's his name is being circulated again to get the GM position.
Hey, Coach Sutter, if you wanna come back to the NHL, we've got a spot open for you. I tell you, Daryl.
You
It's
you take Sutter.
Yeah, he used to be the Sharks coach back in the day, so welcome back, you know? Make
Welcome back.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, "Hey, at
I
least we'll
love
be able
him
to
in
defend a little
interviews.
bit."
I love his interviews.
Yeah. Yeah, me
And
too.
he's like a torts. He just tells it like it is.
Yeah, but with a little bit more,
Like panache, like a little bit
yes,
more
panache.
like je ne sais quoi. Like, while Torch is just like straight up like putting up double middle fingers going like
Yeah, but
that's
the NHL isn't the same without torts, if
no,
you believe again.
but Flyers are basically the same that I expected them, honestly. Pittsburgh's actually doing worse than I thought.
Yeah. I mean,
Pittsburgh's doing
you
worse than I thought.
you wouldn't know after last night, but you're
Empty
right.
net goal. D
Oh,
Vegas
really?
getting their first regulation loss.
Son of a duck. They're actually
Carrick
gonna
with
do
the
it.
empty netter.
Wow.
Wow, so this is gonna be Vegas's first regulation. Finally.
Oh my god, I'm have to freaking crack one open for that.
You called it, man. You called it. 'Cause I just was like, "Let me check the scores," and I was like, "Oh, shit." I was
Yeah, so with that being said, the Ducks with a win, I'm just looking at the standings, they
Yeah,
would advance to 7-4 on the year.
yeah.
That's like half of their wins from last year. Something like that.
Another, I would say, like, happy surprise for me would be Vancouver. I did not expect Vancouver to be 8-2.
Demko is just give him
He's
the
just like,
Vezina. I mean, I know we're talking about, like, Sorokin, but, like, Demko is
"Don't forget Varley."
It was interesting. I can't remember what video it
Are they
was.
still the only 2 goalies to have shutouts? Both of them, like we're the only
Oh,
team that
tandems?
both goalies have shutouts,
I
and
know.
then Farley just got it back to back.
I would just by default say check Vegas or check Boston, but that's you might be right.
I know Aiden Hill has had one, I don't know if Logan Thompson has.
Ah, okay. Yeah, with the Canucks, oh, actually, no, I was gonna say because you mentioned Varlamov, what's really interesting is that he's still under contract for a few years. Like, if the Islanders are not going to actually get to a cup final and, he might still have some tread on the tires. Like, if this guy won a Stanley Cup, his career numbers are no matter where he's been, have been terrific.
Yeah.
I don't think he's the first goalie that somebody thinks of when I mention this, but, like, the dude, I don't know if he'll get into the Hall of Fame, but, like, he goes into at least the Hall of very, 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 very good.
Yeah, like and you know what, like, everyone's got their biggest weaknesses. Sorokin has big weaknesses on angles, his angles. He likes to cheat, he gets very bad at, like, covering his angles, while Varlamov, very bad on rebounds. He's bad at, j controlling his rebounds. That's the only thing I would say about Varlamov, and, like, I would say that's, like, the biggest issue with both of them, but otherwise, like, they're just, like, on their shit. And, like, Sorokin, it's weird because Sorokin will, like, save a save that, how the does one even save that? And then he'll let in, like, something, like, stupid. It's so weird with Sorokin.
I'd rather have that kinda goaltender, though, than
Yeah, it's
yeah.
just, like, I don't know, but this is sometimes that it scares. Boston is Boston. I expected them to do as well as as well as they're doing.
Oh, you did? Yeah?
Yeah, I expected Boston to do as well, honestly. I wasn't even with the loss of, Bergeron.
Some people might think
Which
that's an unpopular opinion, so, I mean, good on you.
I
Yeah.
I said that Boston was gonna do well, in my preseason predictions. I said that Boston was gonna do well, but my end predictions, do I still have it up for the Metropolitan? I did it on Clay's stream, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, here we go. I put Carolina I basically put it would remain the same, that the standings for the Metro would remain about the same because I don't think things are gonna be that different, but the Penguins are proving me wrong.
Yeah, same here. I just said, "No, no, there's no way Crosby's gonna let this team stay this far down in the standings," and, yeah, so far, no
Yeah, but I
bueno.
don't want them to, like, sneak up on us like, "What's up, bitch?" Like,
N
and
Neither
that
do I because I have their first round draft pick from the Eric Carlson trade, so
It's very true. Right,
um,
it's just these OT losses that are killing us. OT losses, letting teams come back, and the Islanders were a team where we're not used to leads. Usually, we were the team that was coming back, and we were known as a third period team. With Lane Lambert, that's been completely flipped on its head. Like, now we're a lead team, but we easily give them up. And when it comes to third periods, now we're sitting back and being complacent. And so we're more a first period team now, and we can't end games. So I really think it's a coaching issue.
but you know who's not experiencing any semblance of a coaching issue right now are the Vancouver Canucks because you had mentioned them earlier. Um, so I was going to make my season predictions, and I remember last year I said the Canucks were going to make the playoffs because they looked really good under Bruce Boudreau in,
Mhm.
part of the season. So I said, "All right, I'll pick the Canucks." And they just looked horrible last year. They got off to just a terrible start. So just because of that, despite them looking good with Rick Tocchet, I said, "I can't pick the Canucks. I can't let them do the same thing to me that they did last year, so I'm not picking them." And I'm kicking myself for not doing that.
Honestly, though, that's how it works. Is like when you don't do it, then they're gonna pop off, and when you do pick them, and then that's what always happens to me. People are like, "Give me predictions for the game." I went, Here's the thing. If I pick us to win, we will lose. And even if I say we'll lose, we'll lose. Like, I just feel like that always happens with me. Like, people are like, "Give me predictions about the game," and, like, I never do because I know if I'll come back, they'll be like, "You jinxed it." I know it's happening. Oh, man, that's the crazy thing for me. That's the scary thing for me.
Well, yeah,
I
you're
hate
right, though.
predicting.
like so many years people thought the Capitals were going to win a Stanley Cup, and then everybody had written them off by the time the Penguins went back to back, and then it was their turn finally.
Barry, Barry,
Ah, doing this,
Barry Trotz.
doing the team lap in the playoffs, man. Ah,
That I miss Barry. I miss Barry Trotz so much.
do you think the team would be playing better with him behind the bench right now?
Absolutely, 100%. Yes. Absolutely 100%. I have no doubts. And that's what kicks like me in the ass so much is like Lane was under him for so long. And I get wanting to do your own thing. But where's the wisdom from Trotz?
Mm,
Where is it? Because you're not using it.
yeah, but
It's
Trotz
it's
was
so painful. It's so painful.
well,
Oh
yeah,
man.
especially when you get so like you were saying, you get so close to getting to the Stanley Cup final and doing it kind of atypically of some other teams out there with like how the team is built to score goals by committee and with an elite, not just an elite goaltender, but like a damn good tandem too.
But it shows what showed also that Trotz was a brilliant coach is the way that players flourished under him. Brock Nelson is one of them. He was not the goal scoring Brock Nelson we knew until Trotz came in. Adam Pelech used to be laughed at by the Islanders fan base. There were compilations of how bad Adam Pelech was on YouTube. Trotz came in and he became one of the best defensive defensemen in the league. Like, just that's another indication of a great coach is when he's able to take players and mesh them into the potential that they can be. That to me shows a great coach. I haven't seen shit under Lane, but
Yeah, I mean, you make like just to kind of add on to your point, a really good coach is going to help somebody flourish, especially in a specific role. I look at somebody like, John Cooper with Tampa. What he did with Yanni Gord, he could plug him in a variety of ways, but like Gord could he could add some scoring depth. He could get under players' skin. It's just the way that he was kind of deployed, he was so effective at that, and that was you need somebody to kind of come into a certain role like that when the postseason comes around. You need somebody to be that agitator in front of the net. So I think that Trotz was a coach who could do that with some players who, they weren't like the highest touted coming into the NHL, but like he could make just really good players that come playoff time, you would definitely notice them, even if they weren't on the score sheet.
yeah, that's the biggest thing. And that's why I want a coaching change so bad. And Lou, I don't trust to go in during season and be like, no, yeah, out. Like I'm done. He's not gonna do that.
I'm waiting on my Greer to see what he does with David Quinn.
It's it sucks because we've had the potential, we've had the window, and I'm thankful to Lou for getting us to that window, but he's not able to fully open it. He's not been able to get the final nail in the coffin. We
Yeah.
need someone else at that point, and that's the biggest issue to me is getting that final nail in the coffin, finding the person that with everything stacked up could put put the last piece on top.
Well, yeah, you know that because you understand that because it's not that long ago the Islanders were you know the basement dwellers, and for quite some time. So to get there, not necessarily when you're expecting it, when you don't have like you know, as I was earlier, like a Connor McDavid even
Yeah, like
or
a Sidney Crosby or
right,
Ovechkin or, we didn't have that, but, that's what made it fun is that, like, no one expected us.
yeah,
People had to put respect on our name, because we were able to get as far as we did without that big ass star. I mean, I think the biggest name is kinda like it would be like, our Matt Barzal, but even with him, he wasn't like everyone looked at him like, you look at some teams like you said, like a Connor McDavid or a Leon Draisaitl or something like that.
yeah. I mean to get there when I was talking to somebody about this, like getting that far when you don't expect it, and you're just like, then you come up short, sure, but then you're like, wait a second, we were riding something hot, but now can we really expect to be back at that level? And then when you start to actually kind of peel back the curtain, it can. I mean, I saw it with the Sharks. Like, almost went to the final in 2019, and then it's just
Yeah.
like
What happened? Yeah.
hard downward spiral.
That's what I'm afraid with the Islanders is gonna happen. That's really what I'm afraid about. And if as things stay as they are, I feel like I'm just waiting for it. That's the biggest thing. I like being optimistic about my team. I like being happy, but realistically, that's the biggest thing I'm afraid of is
Yeah.
that downward spiral because I've sat in that that bottom dumpster for all of our lives. The Islanders have been down there, and to have like the taste like you did in 29, like, you just didn't have that taste. It gets you greedy and you want so bad.
Yeah.
And that's the worst part about it, and it's like, "Oh, well, you have to wait," or you know what? I'm done waiting. We've been there. We've done this. We have the pieces now. Get someone do something to get this team's ass moving. And no one does that in the Islanders. Lou doesn't do that. He's too old to. Like, you know what? And the saddest thing is, it's like if we remove Lou, what's his son's gonna take his place and do the same exact bullshit?
Oh, that's who would theoretically be next in line.
What do you think? He's GM of our Bridgeport team.
Oh, is he? I didn't know.
Yeah,
Well,
his son
there you go.
Chris. I
The
feel
only
like he would be like, "I'm stepping down. Here's my son."
They say old
And I'm
habits
gonna
die
whisper in
hard.
his ear all good nothings about what to do, and it's
Yeah.
gonna be the same bullshit.
Well, thank God the Sharks almost did that with Doug Wilson's son. But I don't know how old Lamoriello's son is, but like Doug Wilson Jr. is like even technically a little bit younger than me. And, I don't want to like put a shitload of blame on him. That would not be fair. He worked with kind of I think as like an assistant general manager at one point, maybe the highest position or something with like, scouting. But it was like, thank God the Sharks, as they were going through that change with Greer, they knew that they needed a different look to the front office. So they brought him in. And I'm not saying that Greer's like the best general manager, but I'm just glad they didn't just, go with what seemed logical to them. It's
Yeah,
like, oh yeah, we're
like
gonna
the
continue this legacy.
narcissism coming
Yeah.
in. Yeah,
Nepotism, yeah.
I'm afraid that's gonna happen. I'm
Boychuk
so
for GM. There you go, Kim.
Yeah, I
That's
was about to just highlight that while you were talking. I didn't wanna, like, interrupt you, but I love that. Boychuk for GM. I love him as a defensive coach. He knows the game so well. I think he was a great defenseman. I don't know if you know, my grandmother made me watch him. She made me watch the Bruins because she loved Johnny Boychuk so much. Uh, so I think he's
make it so.
says the man who just ran the New York City Marathon, by the way.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he finished in 3 hours and something time. There's, like, 2 of his steps are, like, 6 of mine.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and he finished in, like, 3 hours and, like, 40 minutes or something like that. But, like, I don't know, it's so hard with, like, ex-players how they would step into a GM role because I feel like it's just such a different step. And, like, Johnny Boychuk's not done anything, like, coaching-wise. I feel like you have to understand it coaching-wise. I don't know. I wouldn't know how to feel about that one, honestly.
Well, not to mention, I mean, just like, the good thing with the NHL is that like the salary cap to us as fans, like, thank you, cap friendly. Like,
Yeah.
it's so easy to actually figure out how contracts go in hockey and like trades and clauses. Like, it's very rigid, but even so, you still have to figure out like, okay, I know how to keep track of what the payroll looks like for this year. However, it's like now we have to start guessing what payroll we think is going to be free in 3 years, right?
Yeah.
So that's totally different for somebody coming in as a player. So, it's somehow Greer was never an assistant general manager. He worked as like a scout. He worked as a coach with the Devils. One of their coaches. And yeah, then it was just like, okay, now Mike, you got a little, you have your your fingers in different jars. That looks good enough to us. How about you be GM? And I was just like, well, we know it doesn't work, so sure, why not? Give him a shot.
So why not? I feel like it's just so difficult. General manager is a hard position. It is a hard ass position. And like you said, it's about knowing the numbers. It's about anticipating for the future, anticipating those numbers for the future, being, and also just about signings and like dealing with, contracts with players and managers, and
Yeah.
understanding and knowing, what you want, and trying to go into the table and create the best. I would say, I would hope they go in and try to do the best for their franchise. And I understand it's also hard though, because then you get into the personal aspect of it. And I feel like that's a problem with Lou, is that he gets way too much into the personal aspect of it, and he gets way too attached to the people. And and it sucks, because this is where it gets into business versus,
Yeah.
knowing these people. Like, they become family, they become your friends, but in the end, you're here to for the business and for the organization, and that's where it gets difficult.
And it doesn't fall entirely on the shoulders of a general manager, but another huge pitch, especially when we're talking about our teams in our markets, is attracting like high level free agents. That's you have to be much more creative as
There you go.
executives with our teams because look who is in your backyard essentially, right? Look what state we're in, states that we're in. Like players if they don't want to play for a Canadian team, who's to say they're going to want to pay taxes in New York or pay taxes in California?
Yeah.
Who why wouldn't they want to go sign with the Rangers, the glitz and the glamour of the Rangers, or
We
you
have
know
that problem all of the time, and it's so
exactly.
crazy because we have when the players come here, they say nothing but good things about Long Island. Like, Bo Horvat's one of them. He's like, "Holy crap, this is, like, fantastic here." Every single player that we've had come here has never had a bad thing to say. I don't think in the past, like, 10 years I've heard a player say maybe Tavares, but but I mean, kind of warranted. But even when he lived here, though, like, he didn't say like a bad word about being on the Islanders or things like that. Like, it's just kind of like the whole debacle, which is part of the debacle, is because he never said a bad word. But even like I trust someone like Butch Goring. I mean, he came from LA to Long Island, and he said in that trade he was like, "What the hell is Long Island?" He's like, "What the hell am I going to? I'm going to, beautiful Los Angeles, California, to a Long Island." He's like, "What the hell is that?" And he said coming here though, he was shocked and surprised by how gorgeous it is, and the team and the chemistry and everything like that. Like, he was shocked about Long Island itself, and how much he didn't expect it to surprise him, how, great it is to live here. And that's what kills me, is that I feel like it's the same problem now. It's the same problem now. You have the same, it's the stigmas, the dogma, and it's like, how do you erase it? You can't. I don't know if you can erase it. And I know the Islanders are trying. A lot of people say like, "Why are they showing the Empire State Building and like we're Long Island?" And I understand it, but I talked to John Ledecky, and he said it's because of marketing. We're trying to market to especially other players. They see the things, they see the Empire State Buildings, they're seeing New York City. We're trying to like kind of push towards that direction. Like, we're glitz too, like we're towards that direction. That's why you see the Empire State Building. He's like, we're just trying to market. We understand what Long Island is, but we also have to try to do the other side too. And so that's like a big thing that even our owners tried to kind of switch up. And also, Malkin's, like, brother or something, like, his brother-in-law or a brother, like, owns, like, the Empire State Building or something. That's why we're able to get blue and orange colors on the Empire State Building.
Really?
Yeah, I believe Malkin's, like, brother or brother-in-law or something like that actually, like, owns or, has, like, affairs with the Empire State Building, so that's how we're able to get our colors.
Huh, go figure.
Yeah, no, that's what I've heard, so that's why we're able to get the pictures. That's why we're able to get like our intro for this year is two-sided. One is a guy going up to the top of the Empire State Building, and one is someone going up to the top of the Montauk Lighthouse. So it's like the both, and that's our intro this year. And like turning on the lights on both. That's our intro this year, and I thought that
Okay.
was smart.
So it's like we run New York,
It's basically like, honestly, from like tip to tail, this is us kind of thing. We have, the city, but we also have the beautiful beaches and, lighthouse. We have both. People forget, like, and I honestly forget sometimes too, but yeah.
I
Teresa
think it
says, "Some people forget that Buffalo was in New York too."
well, yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem that way since they're in a different division.
And it's so close to Toronto.
Yeah, that's true too. Wait, oh, that who won that game, by the way?
Eh,
Because Buffalo seems like they've been turning it around a little bit.
a little here and there. They've been a
Last
very
night, yeah, yeah.
grueling team, though. They've been very, aggressive as of late. Do you mean that who won recently with them?
Oh, yeah, yeah, they beat the Maple Leafs last night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they won 6-4.
Yeah, there were like a few 6-4 games, like, man, that's the other like we were talking about, you can't just sit back and expect to, like, protect your lead. It's like, this is today's NHL, like,
That is
people
the
are gonna
most
find
annoying thing to
yeah,
me, and Lane does it all the time, and you know it's coaching because the players will just think dump. They don't try to enter the zone, they don't do anything to look towards net, they'll just be like and if they're doing that, they're being told to do that. That's what bothers me. Poor Yotes. Yeah, they lost to the Jets.
oh, yeah.
I honestly respect and want the Yotes to get a new place. I don't want them to move. I respect Yotes fans. I understand their plight for a new arena, so I feel them.
Yeah, I mean, it's got the saga's gone on so long that where it's just like, I think we have other things to be concerned about at this point. It's like, all right, just get it done. Go somewhere in
Yeah.
Arizona. Go to
I
Flagstaff. I don't care. Just make it
Jake, I
work out.
did see this with Steve Dangle's meltdown about it. I saw some clips on, Twitter about the loss to Buffalo meltdown.
That
Oh,
division has, it's as advertised. It's just it's
it's a
what
dogfight.
it's a dogfight. Yeah, exactly.
It's
Yeah,
a dogfight.
yeah.
Honestly, the East, East in general is just horrible. It's just horrible. The Metro and Atlantic is just it's always a dogfight in our divisions. And like
Check.
every single like fantastic player, like Adam Fantilli to Columbus. I'm like, son of a
When do you get
You
your Adam Fantilli?
uh,
Um, although I do want to give some props to the Pacific Division. The top three teams. Uh,
yeah,
w-
Vegas is a freaking monster.
yeah. Even despite tonight's result, like they were playing a back to back. So like
Yeah, the top 3 teams have been like whew, they've been there.
Canucks in second. Like, or I
But
mean,
then
yeah,
there's like about those things though, it's like where those bottom teams, like that's the thing about the Metro and the Atlantics. You don't know. It's gonna switch up every year, but like I feel like it's sometimes the Pacific and the Central are very kind of easy to kind of pinpoint who's gonna be the bottom threes. While on the right side, it can change every goddamn year.
I expect at least there to be some
Oh,
change in the Pacific with the Calgary. Well, not so much the
I was
Flames.
about to say if we could talk about bad surprises, what the
Yeah,
fuck, Edmonton? What the fuck?
it's. I mean, the bottom half of the Pacific. I mean, we knew the Sharks would be bad. We didn't think it'd be that bad. Oilers. God,
What has happened? You have Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl. Like, what is going
the same problems persist, and their 5-on-5 offense took a step back in the offseason. They lost some of their depth.
depth? Yeah, the biggest problem is their depth. It's like outside their first line, what do they have? Not
Yeah,
much.
they can't defend either. I mean, like their defense, like their goalies. The thing is, I've liked their goalies before, but when you expect that much from them, when your defense is so porous, they're not that good to backstop your team to a deep run. And
Yeah,
yeah, just the same problems persist. That's just it. I've seen 3 games of theirs. I watched a little bit of yesterday against the Predators. I was saying, 2 power play goals, sure, but like, are you gonna get 23 power plays a game? No, you're not.
yeah,
Um, and then the other 2 games, they looked just fine, and it's weird, because one of those games, they just dominated the Calgary Flames, and gosh, we talk about a team who looked like they also had a window a couple seasons ago, and that thing has slammed shut. They brought in Jonathan Huberdeau, who I thought looked like an MVP caliber player with the Panthers, and he's just a shell of his former self. And you could say like maybe like I don't know, age is kind of catching up to Kadri, and
Yeah.
Markstrom is not. He has not looked the same since 2 years ago either.
Markstrom is, he's so, he's just like, and he's like the king of giving up the puck for goals. He loves, the thing that I have, a biggest problem I have with like a Jacob Markstrom is that he loves coming out of his net. He loves to do it, and that's what gives up goals all the time with him. I just looked it up. Yeah, I was just double checking. 8 games played, 1 win. 1 win. Save percentage is .8897.
That's actually like
I
almost
know.
average in today's NHL. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, GAA is 3.03.
Well, yeah, that team is not. You don't. You have to be better than an average goaltender if you want to give that team a chance.
But it's just like, God, 8 games and 1 win. It's just like, oh,
Yeah.
that's brutal.
Yeah, I know he's trending toward Mackenzie Blackwood numbers here.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's just like it. But Markstrom, to he's his own problem within himself. I feel like for the Calgary Flames. But I feel like he's not a bad goaltender, but he makes dumb mistakes, I should say. Oh
Mm.
man. And then Florida. Florida's another team where I'm like, bro, you okay? Like, they're not doing horrible. And the Atlantic is just so freaking stacked, but Florida is like they're in 7th out of 8 in the Atlantic, which is nuts.
I mean, like the difference between second place and
Well,
let
Boston's just like, see you later.
the difference between second and sixth, if you look at points percentage, the difference between second and sixth is 2 points. Like
Yeah.
that's what it's going to probably
That's
be
the
like.
thing about the early season too. It's just like it's so damn close in the early season, then you're gonna see it just get wider. You're gonna see it get wider and wider.
The
This
Panthers
is the
have
same
also
thing in the Metro.
the Panthers have also done this without Brandon Montour, who like was some people might even think should have been a Vezina finalist last year. He was like in the
Yeah.
playoffs too. That guy was incredible, or
Yeah.
at least for the first couple rounds. And but yeah, like I think one thing that stings them is like I haven't seen everybody's numbers. You know, Reinhardt looks great. That's great. He's in a contract year. You usually do well when you're in a contract year.
Yeah.
But for example, you know, Kachuk and like I love Carter Verhaeghe. He's got 3 goals in 10 games, which is not anything to scoff at, but it's like between him and Kachuk, they've got 5 goals in 10 games. It's like, you can get a little bit more out of them, right?
Like the meme. What was that? Like the meme in the hands of the pockets. I forget what actor that is. Oh my God. It's gonna bother me. I don't remember, but coming up for you guys is Flyers Sharks coming up this Tuesday. How do you feel about that one? Because I mean, the Flyers aren't, you know, the absolute worst, team to go against coming up. It's not a
Sure.
Vegas, it's not a Bruins. You know what I mean? It's not an Avalanche. So, how are you feeling about this one? Do you think the Sharks have a chance?
Well, I thought that they were going to get it against Pittsburgh. Before last night's game started. So, I mean, can we hopefully skate a competitive 60 minutes against Philly? Probably so, right? But like,
It's a possibility if they want
yeah,
to show up.
I feel as confident against them as I do probably anyone else for the most part. Wait, is that game? Let's see here. Is that game in Philly or SJ? Let's see here. I can't remember if the Sharks go on the road. They might go on the road. I'm just gonna quickly check.
Bottom team is home. I can't with
Yeah,
this new
that's home game.
NHL app. I want to. I believe it's a 10:30 start, so I'm assuming they're
Yeah, yeah.
with you guys.
For a while there last year, it looked like the Sharks could have they almost set the worst home, like the modern record for the worst home record in an NHL season. So, like, I would rather this game, frankly, be on the road. But like, hey, I'll give us like a 30% chance.
Yeah,
It's
I think
probably
that's
going to be
guys also with an NHL app. I think bottom team means home, which God forbid they put. I hate this freaking NHL app.
mm,
They ruined it.
I don't
They
even use
ruined
it.
this NHL app. But Islanders will be home Tuesday as well. We're going to be against Minnesota.
Minnesota's been a disappointment so far.
Yeah, so but here's the Islanders' problem. Against disappointing teams, we end up going, let's just kick back. Relax. Very good. Like, we end up, like, underestimating our opponents. And I say this all the time. Any team can win on any goddamn given day. It doesn't matter if they're last or if they're first. It's like going against the Sharks. Yeah, they're last place, but they can win on any goddamn given day.
Yeah.
And you're gonna kick back and sit back. They're gonna take advantage because they want to fucking win. That's the biggest thing. If this, because listen, if you're on that team, if you're on that Sharks team, would you not be hungry for a win right now?
I'd be
Just one.
hungry. I'd be hungry for a win, or at least to contribute to a win, because I want to get the hell out of there. I want to show some trade value.
Exactly, and just anything. So to underestimate or think, oh, this should be an easy one. No, can't do that. I wouldn't do that with any team in this league, whether it be first or last place, no matter in between. That's how I say, like, you should always go into games. I hope coaches are saying that in the locker room, things like that. Any team can win on any given day. I don't care where you see them in the standings. You play this game like you're playing the first place team. No if buts or abouts. So
Elliot Friedman with breaking news. Kim has been hired as the next coach of the New York Islanders. All right.
I
Well,
get told this a lot.
I'll get the live stream going right after we've wrapped up.
Yeah, no, like I'll go and do like I get sometimes fired up when I'm doing my game streams, and I'm like, they're like, get her in the locker room. like honestly though, it's just like I get frustrated, and I'm like, I'm hoping they have this mentality. It's the only thing with me. It's like
I mean,
get that mentality. You need the
yeah. I mean,
mentality to go out there and play.
do they actually? Yeah. Like they know what people say on like social media, but that's so hyperbolic, right? I mean, do do they actually have an understanding of what fans are thinking? People who actually are fanatics about their team, about that brand, about
Are they going into like are they going in truly are they down in the game? Are they getting hyped to come back into it? Like that's where I'm worried about Lane because I feel like we play a shit period when they go into the locker room and I'm like if I was in there, I'd be screaming. I would be screaming. I don't care. I would be in their face pointing. I'd be trying to get them ready and hyped and just get them to wake up. But and then you see Lane, go in there, and then he comes back, and then they have another shit period. I'm like, what was said? What did
well,
he say?
what
Or
what what's the captain's response in this?
exactly, captain's response, but also just in general, like you see TV timeouts when you're at games, and if they're playing like how they were, like I wasn't there last game because I was at the concert, but my mom goes, "We're at this TV timeout. We're playing like shit," and Lane's just like, talk to your team. Like you have a free timeout. Use it. Why not? Why not, get the guys together and get a game plan out? You have a free timeout right there. I don't know. That's something that I feel like maybe all coaches should utilize.
That made me think of one time. You don't see this very often where, like, you see confrontation between a player and a coach on the bench. I remember a few years ago. Does anybody else remember this? Like, I think it was. I don't know if Nathan. I think it was Nathan McKinnon. I don't know if he was barking at Jared Bednar, but he was barking at one of the coaches on the bench. I think a few years ago. I don't know. You need some of that
That
piss in your
fire.
water. Like
You need that fire. I'm down
yeah.
with that. But I just want to see that coming into this game against Minnesota. I want to see the 60 minutes, full 60 minutes. Because yes, we've had 40-minute games, but that loss of the 20, goodbye. Goodbye lead. You get a point. Woo. No,
Yeah.
I want two.
That's a great point. Just because I mean, like a team can win a period and win a game.
Yeah,
Like the best defense against that is to win every period against them to make sure. Uh,
exactly.
on the Wild side of things, though, they don't have see the Wild are in a very fortunate spot because they don't have to actually hear their coach yelling at them. All they have to do is look at Dean Evison, and at least if I were on that bench, I'd piss myself. That guy is so fucking scary.
Oh, that's what it's all about, man. Because the Islanders lose games in as little as 1 minute. It could take one. It's taken 1 minute for a team to come back against us or take a lead against us. Like 2 goals and like I forget. It was like I think against the Avalanche, we let up like 2 goals in like less than a minute or something like that, or in a minute. And that just can't happen. We break down for 1 minute and we lose everything. So that can't happen. That can't happen anymore. That's just it's like my breakdown is just coaching needs to be there. Stop fucking up the lines. Play a full 60 and let's see what happens. What would you say to your Sharks going into Tuesday?
Boy, I mean, I think I made a point earlier, like, hey, I wouldn't say, hey, I know you guys want out
Hey.
of here. Go up to help yourself. Help me help you, right? Keep my job. Um, well, I would say for one, yeah, I don't know who this comes from, but somebody needs to say, hey, when this team was winning games, who was a part of this team? It's like Joe Pavelski was part of this team.
Mhm,
Joe Thornton was part of this team.
mhm.
Brent Burns was part of this team. And I'll say, hey, guess what? You don't have them here to cover up for this team's performance. They're not, it's like, look, nobody's going to step in and make this better for ourselves for us than ourselves. That's that's the first thing. But the thing is that with especially with Couture injured potentially this whole season, it's like
Yeah.
I don't think there's a guy on that bench right now who if he says it, the team is going to rally behind. I love Mario Ferraro. I just, he's just not backing it up on the ice enough. And that's I'm picking on him a little bit, but like he's a vocal player on the team. So it's like, okay, maybe, but it's just that you got to show, you know, and he does fight hard, but like you need that guy who if he's not going to be scoring the goals for you, he's got to be not only the vocal leader, but he has to be the one who is not afraid to lose some teeth over a puck,
Yeah.
and to get scrappy out there. That's one other thing with the Sharks. They have not initiated enough. Um, Physically, it's just because they get hits because they're hemmed in their own zone too much. But like you need a shit starter at this point. You need like
Yeah.
you almost need an anti-hero at this point.
Got you. All right. Any last minute questions from chat? And then we're going to wrap it up. I'm going to let Nick plug, and it's also in the description of the vid, his channel. So I definitely recommend clicking that, checking out his streams. I love watching his play by play streams, especially he does a lot of trivia. So if you want to garner knowledge, expand the knowledge of hockey, he's your man. Does trivia, and every time with the goal, like I said, you get to see Cortana get a treat. So it's a great time. It's a great time.
And check this out. If you want to be part of something special, check this out. We are at 9,999 subscribers at this exact moment. So
Someone
do you
get
want to
him
be
to 10. Are you kidding me?
who wants
Yes,
to create a second YouTube account and be number 10,000?
facts. Oh my god, yes. Also join the Membies. Join the
Oh,
Membies.
yeah, because we do members only live streams and sometimes
Yes.
videos. Yeah, so there you go.
Oh my gosh, I have to we're gonna live view your channel. I'm looking up your channel right now.
Live looking at Twisted Wrister Hockey. Oh, David
What
says
was it?
if San Jose doesn't turn things around, is Quinn on the hot seat?
I
I mean,
just looked and I found 10K.
oh yeah, we're there. Come on.
I just clicked and it says 10K.
Oh, 10K.
Let's
I
go,
might have to go live.
everybody!
I might have to go live after this and do 10K live stream. I think
Yes!
I might have to.
Oh, we're joining. Everyone's joining that.
Oh
Okay, you
shit.
hear that? You see, my literally his link is in the description. We're getting ready for that. But plug your channel right now so everyone can go find you. Go and
Um.
plug.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Twisted Wrister Hockey, like Twisted Sister, but Twisted Wrister. Uh. Yeah. That's the one. Um. Yeah. But David had asked, would Quinn be on the hot seat if San Jose doesn't start turning things around? I mean, hell, I wouldn't be surprised if I know he's going to say in interviews that he doesn't feel like his job's on the line, and I understand why people are saying, yeah, well, you can't put it all on his shoulders. Sure, but the thing is that you need to save the morale of everybody. And I don't want to see somebody go when he's only part of the problem, if that, but like something's got to happen because there's nothing coming for you. You know,
Yeah.
your captain might miss the whole season, you know? So
Yeah, Tommy here says, "When
when will they get their
when
first
will the
win?
Sharks get their first win?"
I said it
It
was going to
could
be
be
last
Tuesday.
Tuesday. That'd be great. That'd be
I would
wonderful.
love it against Philly, honestly. Metro opponent, so less points for them, so I'd love that.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'd like to do some favors out there for sure.
yeah, facts. And you know what? Honestly, it's gonna be like a celebration on Twitter when you guys get your first one.
It
It's
will
gonna be a
be.
celebration. We'll get a celebration together. Oh, man, but I hope you guys do beat the Flyers, and then I'm so happy for you reaching the 10K milestone. Thank you guys for helping him out, hitting that. That's a fantastic. And I mean, I don't see any other things, so I think we've hit everything.
Cool.
But yeah, okay. S This was awesome, guys. Thank you so much. It flows so fast. You know, you get to talk to someone. So I thank you, Nick, for joining me. And this was like last moment, guys. Nick came on here because he's kick ass, and he came on here last moment to help me out. So thank you so much to Nick, Twisted Wrister Hockey. Congrats on your 10K. Go check out his channel and keep the number growing. Keep it
And
growing,
remember,
guys.
don't do it for me.
Do it for
Cortana.
Cortana!
A good girl. Who's a good girl? Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah, do it for the dog.
Exactly, and she's got her own jersey, guys. Come on.
We need to get her an Islanders jersey. Like if I ever get another team, it's going to be Islanders first thing.
Yes, I feel like that has to happen. But, oh my gosh, this was fantastic. Thank you, guys. I'm gonna end these streams. I don't know, Nick, I end each stream saying the same thing, and that is your team would not be who they are without your passion, your dedication, and your fandom for your team. Your love and your passion is what makes you who you are, but also helps support your team. Keep it going. Put it live in the chat. Put your team. Let's go Islanders. Let's go Sharks. Let's go Rangers. Let's go Devils. Let's go whatever your team is. Put it in the chat. Show your love for your teams because that's what makes hockey beautiful, and that makes what makes you a beautiful fan. So thank you guys, and go check out his channel. Thank you guys, and have a great night.
Thanks, guys.